Welcome to the Nexus of Adventure, where stories transcend the page, a place where heroes and villains clash. This is Break, Battle, and Roll. It's once again time to break, battle, and roll. Welcome back, everybody. I am excited for this episode. I'm excited for where things left off last time, but first let's get introductions out of the way. I am joined here by the voice of the Echo Master, Chad Stafford.
Oh, Timothy Biscuit, wondering to himself, should he pursue a career at motivational speaking or spend more time to develop this subgenre of music he's discovered called worm rock?
Oh, yeah. Grub rock.
Ooh, grub rock's even better. That's our new alternative rock band name. We're grub rock.
Love it.
All right, well, how about the voice of the hag who got away? Janelle Wilkie.
Hello there. Janelle Wilkie playing Flowerkraut, who fell into a giant pool of grub guts and is looking at a dog holding a bone and her cat, who is also just atop a giant grub. What's happening here?
It's all part of the grub rock experience. Don't worry about it.
Wow.
Yeah, you don't understand it until you've at least gone to a couple of the concerts, because it's kind of a multi-trip. And then of course you have to get the merch.
It's like experiential.
Yes.
Yes. You definitely got that guar part of the experience.
Very sensory. It's not just the audio.
Yeah, depending on where you are in like the crowd, it's a totally different thing.
Splash zone.
Oh, I could feel the immersion on my skin.
Oh, you were sitting in the blue seats? Oh, the blue seats is where you get wet. That's the grub juice zone.
Oh, Flowerkraut's all about it. She's gonna make some new potions with some of that splash zone goo.
Nice.
That's actually the name of their first album.
Splash zone goo.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I love it.
Well, how about the voice of the new owner of a broken stone hammer, Dustin Bleshmet?
Sherman Jeopard, and I thought I was gonna have a hammer to pick with Aster, but it turns out I've got a bone to pick after all.
Aww.
As long as I don't chew on it first.
Yeah, it's gone, man. Like there's no way that thing's gonna survive all until then.
Oh no.
My hammer.
Squawkity squawk.
What did you do?
Oh yeah, squawkity squawk. just us Kenku over here. Yep. No.
That's right. Brock was all dressed up like a Kenku and was totally leaving with them. Oh yeah, squawk.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite in like non-in canon joke for us.
Oh yeah, how am I supposed to do that? The thieves can't thing. I need to stop talking. Okay, yeah. All right.
Squawk. They don't even say squawk.
Yeah.
He's just staying there.
Strutting around like a chicken.
The Kenku are like, you're not convincing anybody.
You wear a disguise to look like Kenku, guys, but you're not a man, you're a half lizard.
All right, guys. On our last break, battle, and roll, Sherman and Timothy met up as the Apostleship and the Helix mindlessly marched out of Oskal's refuge north towards the Gallant Peak. Along with Tumbleweed, they frantically looked for Flowerkraut, only to realize that she had left earlier in the morning. Sherman finds his sword left on Brock's workbench with a note mentioning that the curse would require the purest, untouched water to cleanse. With nowhere else to turn, the three head for Raven's Outpost in hopes of convincing the Creckle to help. Flowerkraut, meanwhile, led the march towards the mountain. Unable to control her stride, Brandy popped out of her satchel and concluded that Flowerkraut's brain was not her brain before bounding off and heading south again to find Bird Brain and Dog Brain. Tumbleweed did his best to point out the hidden traps of Raven's Outpost using his crudely drawn pictures. They easily avoid the pressure plate, but the first trap was the only one avoided before the little Kenku mixed up his drawings and the second was triggered.
And you almost killed him. Oh my god.
Yeah, you don't get to brush past that one.
I'm not. That's the next sentence, guys.
I don't believe you. Show it to me. Drive to my house.
Sherman and Tumbleweed were both struck by poison darts, and the little Creckle barely pulled through thanks to the Bard and Paladin's magic. Brandy tracked down and caught up to the little crew, then told them what had happened to Flowerkraut. Now with more intent than ever, Timothy, Tumbleweed, Sherman, and Brandy slink past the final spike trap and into Raven's Outpost. The veil of voice was dropped, and it was time for Timothy to reveal to the Creckle who he truly was. With all of his heart, the Bard pleaded to the other Kenku the importance of staying on Glavio and helping their Helek friends. The Creckle turned heads to each other, murmuring "Echo" in response, but the message was clear. Some joined Tumbleweed in repeating "hero," while others still seemed skeptical. The speech was interrupted by the Gargantuan bursting through the wall of Raven's Outpost and attacking. And in a clutch move, Brandy emitted her Neuron Nip, rendering the giant worm stunned while the heroes laid into the threat with all of their might.
And it remained stunned and continued to remain stunned.
Yeah, thanks to the DM dice that just really wanted that to happen. Before the creature could fully regain semblance of itself, Sherman charged up Brock's stone hammer with radiant energy and swung true into the Grubgantuan. Aster's face winced as Flowerkraut entered her cave on the Gallant Peak. The hag then took Flowerkraut through a plane-shift portal into the Alcove of Six within the Feywild. There she saw the other hags, near their trees, focusing the energy of Miriam's heart into Aster, providing her enhanced powers. Roots from Aster's leafless black ash wrapped around Flowerkraut's body, and the horned hag released her spell from the warlock. Aster gave Flowerkraut the choice to join the coven or be destroyed for standing in the way. The hag grew frustrated in her refusal. Then, in her attempt to draw forth the mote of Miriam from Flowerkraut, Baba Yaga began to laugh. You know nothing of true bonds. The scent of Flowerkraut's friends crossed her nose, and her connection to Brandy reinforced into something more tightly bound than it has ever been. As she reached out to her familiar in her mind's eye, Flowerkraut was whisked away from the Alcove of Six and popped into existence at Raven's Outpost, surrounded by her friends and a purring Cthulhu on her lap. And that is where we left off. So, Grubgantuan guts everywhere, and the Kenku standing about have all kind of like slunk back to defensive positions, but they're all kind of slowly emerging as they see that you guys have easily destroyed this thing. And now Flowerkraut's sitting in the mess that was where the Grubgantuan was.
Oh my goodness, that's where you've been.
When did you get swallowed by a giant worm?
Wait, what? No. I wasn't in that. What?
Oh no, she's having confusion. She's having confused thoughts. She must have gotten a concussion while inside the worm. Oh no, what if it was my hammer? Oh no, my hammer!
What the fuck is going on? I was in the Feywilds.
Wait, you were in the Feywild?
Yeah. Aster, the hag took me there. She took control of my mind, and Brandy brought me back.
Whoa, Brandy, you can basically neuron nip an entire giant worm and bring people back from the Feywild?
Brandy just kind of like headbutts Flowerkraut, you're kind of purring and walking around Flowerkraut's shoulders.
Flowerkraut is hugging Brandy.
Well, I'm glad you're back, Flowerkraut, because, well, it wasn't just you. Aster took control over practically the entire island.
Oh, fuck.
Well, except for the Kenku, we somehow seem immune to it.
Oh, yeah, and Flowerkraut kind of mumbles to herself, yeah, that makes sense. And now she's panicking again, thinking a little bit about the implications and the potion that set her on the journey to begin with.
You hear a Creckle in the background go, "Oh no, it's the Creckle!"
That's you guys.
They're all kind of nodding, and they're pointing at Timothy. Some of them are pointing at Timothy, and then they point at themselves, and then they gesture to Flowerkraut, you, and Sherman, and then they kind of like place their hands, or one of them places their hands on their head, and they look at you like inquisitively, kind of like us Creckle are fine. How are you not messed up? They're kind of like looking, like confusion.
Do you know where the others are headed?
They look amongst each other. The Gallant Peak, they say in a he-like voice.
Oh, fuck. Okay, yeah. When Aster took control of my mind, or right before, I did hear the hags talking, and Aster was talking about taking control of something, and I'm afraid that the others are part of her plan. Obviously, she wants to use them as an army, but something big, I think, is going to be leading that army.
Something big? Bigger than this worm that we just had to take care of?
I don't know.
As you're saying this, you stand up and like you're kind of brushing stuff off of you, explaining this, and then right as you guys are kind of reacting to what Flowerkraut just said, the conch in her satchel activates, and you hear a voice clearly coming out of it. Everyone in Raven's Outpost hearing this voice, and it's louder than you had ever heard it before, Flowerkraut, and it's Aster's voice once again, but she says, "Run, Flowerkraut. Run to your friends. Yes, I see that you have Laminari's conch. Listen well. You will learn soon enough that it will make no difference and only delay your fate as being one of the six. No one will escape my wrath, not even your Kenku friends who resist me. Don't think that leaving this island will make you safe."
Flowerkraut throws the conch onto the ground and starts smashing it with her foot.
You shatter the conch into tons of pieces as the Creckle begin to just like freak out a little bit.
Oh, you know what? You guys probably don't want to leave if that. Oh, you don't know. It's probably not safe for them out on the water just yet.
Oh, wow. You know what? We've been dealing with so much, you kind of forget that we were chased by a giant squid at some point.
Oh, they start to freak out big time.
Should we try and explain the whole situation to them about the Kraken?
I think that as long as they know that there is a big sea monster in the water, then they'll hang tight for probably like at least 6 to 8 minutes.
So as you're saying this, you say sea monster, and there's this Creckle in the very back of Raven's Outpost who's lowering like one of their rafts that they have. They've got a bunch of like makeshift boats here in Raven's Outpost for them to come and go from the island, and like they're lowering it down, and then you say sea monster, and he immediately starts raising it back up.
And don't even get us started on the acid water.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah. I don't know if it's I will say that I didn't see any evidence of that this morning when we left, but who knows if it could be like that now.
They are murmuring and kind of squawking amongst themselves. They seem really freaked out, but at the same time, there's a couple of them that are still acting incredibly impressed by how this creature that has fueled fear in them for years. Like you guys had heard a little bit about the hunting patterns of the Creckle and how the Creckle were typically the ones that go out and get the grubs, and that this grubgantuan was what kept them from going too far north, because it was basically the mother grub. And here this thing burst through and you guys handled it without any problem. And so, of course, some of them, acting on instinct, have already started collecting grub parts from the body. But there's definitely a few of them that are paying close attention to what you guys have to say.
How's Tumbleweed looking, by the way?
Tumbleweed didn't run. He just kind of stood next to Timothy the whole time and cheered.
Aww.
And he's just like, you can hear him kind of under his breath, hero, 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 yeah, hero.
Oh. Okay. Flowerkraut is gonna turn to the others, and she's gonna say, listen, guys, I need to talk to you privately. I messed up, and I need to just get something off my chest, okay?
Yeah, there's a lot of goo on there.
Oh, yeah. Flowerkraut kind of scrapes off some of the goo that she had landed in.
Not that I was looking.
Oh, of course. She's like scraping off some of the goo, and she puts it in a couple of her vials for later.
Listen, Flowerkraut, I don't think you've messed up, regardless of what it is. We're just happy to have you back. It was scary without you, I will admit. But whatever it is we've got to tackle, we'll do it. No grubgantuan or Miss Hell in the Shell is gonna stop us.
Okay, yeah, let's go over here. She kind of eyes Tumbleweed because she's not sure if he should hear this. She's a little bit nervous about that. Maybe he can check in with the others and see how they're doing.
I'm gonna roll a perception check just to see if I notice Flower kind of making the gesture.
Yeah, roll insight.
Oh, insight. Yes, of course. That is a 15.
Oh, yeah, you can tell that Flowerkraut wants to have a team huddle.
Oh, okay. I think I get the hint. Hey, Tumbleweed. Listen, bud, you did great work back there. I am so proud and impressed by you. Thank you so much. I need you to do a very important job.
Yes.
I need you to check in on all of your Creckle brethren and make sure everyone's okay, and no matter what, they cannot leave this island. Can you do that for me?
Stay here.
Yes.
Don't you move.
No moving.
Yes.
All right, you've got this, buddy.
He smiles at you and then runs over to the rest, and you can hear him. You actually see him kind of like thieves canting to everybody and squawking a little bit, and they all... But it also almost seems like he doesn't need to do much, because a lot of these Kenku are definitely pulling the rafts out of the water after hearing what's going on, but they all want to have their own little Creckle talk, so they're all huddled up over there and far away from you guys.
Okay, huddle time. Flowerkraut kind of gestures them over to a spot where there's no Kenku hanging out. So, I lied before about the potion.
So there's no potion?
There is a potion. I lied about what we needed for it. I have a couple ingredients, and I was needing one more. And the last one I needed was...
Oh, come on. I'm sure whatever it is, it can't be that hard to get.
You're right in a way, Timothy. Flowerkraut's kind of like trembling a little bit. It's the heart of a Kenku. The actual heart. The reason why I got caught up in Astor's spell was because I snuck out and I was going to take the heart of the Kenku that they were going to burn on the pyre over there. I didn't want to put this on you. I didn't know what else to do. And I fucked up big time. I'm really sorry. And I still don't know what to do now that we're here. And there's so many of them now that need our help. I don't know if one potion's gonna do it.
I don't know if I hate to say this, but I I don't know if the dearly deceased Creckle friend is going to be using theirs anymore, but also I'm not in the camp of desecrating burial rites, so I don't know if I can condone that on my end.
Yeah. Timothy, I don't know if you would know much about Kenku culture and hearts, but do you think there's any way that I could take it and pay respects in another way?
Well,
Or do you think I need to ask them? God, I don't know what the fuck to do in this situation.
Flowerkraut, I understand your hesitancy to share such difficult information. The way I would react would also be to keep certain truths to myself, and I think that's just part of our nature, right? We do it to protect ourselves, but we're a team now, and regardless of how difficult the task is, we'll do it together. And these Creckle are similar to my flock, but different in so many other ways. We would have never been trusting of outsiders, but these Creckle have let the Helax into their lives, and I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know how they'll react to it, but I think there is someone we can talk to. There's an elder that they look up to that maybe they'll have the right answer.
Okay.
I look in the crowd to see if I can spot the elder that stepped forward when I spoke to the Creckle about the importance of fighting for this island, to see if I can find them in the crowd.
Yeah, she's there. And the elder is actually the oracle that you had spoken to before, Flowerkraut.
That's right.
I mean, in a nomadic community like this, the person who has basically the most knowledge ends up kind of taking the role of leadership. So what you've noticed that this oracle lady just tends to have a little bit more insight into things, maybe a little more history into things, and so everyone looks up to her, but she definitely doesn't like issue commands to everyone. But yeah, that's who you were talking to, Timothy.
I think making this potion is gonna be rather imperative in what's to come. So I think we need to talk to this oracle, who I sort of recognize. What the hell? Should we head over there?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's also, in case we need a plan B, perhaps all of this will come to an end once we deal with the hag herself?
Yeah.
That's what I was I'm not gonna say afraid of, but if worst comes to worst and we're going up there empty-handed, we're gonna need to figure out a way around the entire community of the Helax and the entire crew of the Apostle ship.
Oh no, I didn't even think of that.
Oh my god. Oh, them too, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Sherman, how did you get out of that unscathed?
Realistically speaking, we're gonna have to probably do that either way.
I don't want to be on the receiving end of a Bernese punch. That's scary.
Oh my gosh. You don't. Trust me.
Flowerkraut is opening up her tome to see if there is any hint as to how effective this or how she can make this potion be as effective to as many people as possible, if it'll give her any clue.
So the way, a lot of knowledge flows into you from Baba Yaga, which, conveniently enough shows up in your tome, the potion itself turns out to be more of a salve, and the application of the salve is to basically smear a line onto someone's forehead in order for it to activate for them. So as you kind of stare at the runes in your tome to kind of get a better understanding of this concoction, you start to realize that if you do create this thing, it would only take a pinch on your thumb or your finger for one person to be affected by it. So we're thinking, think of like a small bowl of paste. So it could work for a number of people. It's not going to be just a single potion that one person drinks or anything like that.
That's at least something.
What does it say, Flowerkraut?
It says that, well, thankfully the potion can affect multiple people. We just need to spread a little bit on a person's forehead that we want to have the effects work on. So that's good. So one potion can work for many.
Well, that's good. I mean, even if we can save the apostleship, we can, have maybe the upper hand and
then maybe if we get some of the Helax on our side, they can at least bind some of the others.
oh boy, we have a night cut out for us.
Yeah, this is gonna suck. Okay. Oh, by the way, Aaron.
Yeah.
One of my things that happened with level 5 is in my tome. Should I bring it up now? Do we want to talk about our level ups at all, or should we save that for a little later?
Sure, we can talk about them right now. It's a good spot.
Okay.
But yes, it is exciting. You guys are level 5 now.
Yay!
There's something else in my tome. Check this out, you guys. This is super cool. I've heard of this before. It's a sending page where you can communicate with allies.
Oh, that would have been really good on your booty call days, huh?
Oh, yeah. Sure, man. Yeah. You're calling me out there, buddy.
I remember what that is. You told me.
Yeah, if there's somebody we want to talk to, we can write to them on the page, and they'll hear the message, and they can sort of send a mind message back that we'll see on the page.
Do they know who's sending the message?
Aaron, do they know? I don't know.
They do. Yes.
They do. Okay, great.
Okay, I thought maybe we could send a very, very stern talking to a certain hag and tell them that they need to stop what they're doing, or they're going to be in really big trouble very soon.
Meta-wise, yes, you could send a message to Aster, and Aster could respond to it.
Oh, shit.
Hey, just be like, hey, look who else can send messages, you sassy little harem wench. What am I saying?
You sassy.
Are you sure you're not just projecting your image of me onto Aster?
Since you've been in Aster's presence, you are familiar with her.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Does anyone have a pen? Do you want to write a note to Aster? We can tell her she sucks.
Flowerkraut, I don't know if this would ever work, and this is certainly not the time to do it, but do you think this could reach someone in the Feywild?
I don't see why not. Are you thinking about, Lily?
Unfortunately, my thoughts are a bit more selfish than that. I've been trying to find somebody.
Aaron, is it possible if it's somebody that it's not me familiar with, but a companion is familiar with?
You would have to be the one familiar with it since you're casting the spell.
Okay. I'm afraid that I would have to know them first. Unfortunately, Timothy.
Okay, well, hey, this is super helpful. Yeah, if you guys want to send some I can send him mean tweets to Aster.
All right, Flowerkraut. It's like we don't want to spend too much time playing with this right now because we've got a job to do, but Flowerkraut does send a little thank you and a smiley to Baba Yaga.
You write the message into your book and then cast the spell. You feel the message leave and you wait for a response, but you watch as the message you wrote in your book becomes distorted and scratchy, and then it disappears.
Huh. That's odd. I don't know if it's supposed to work like that.
Roll an Arcana check for me.
Sure.
I was gonna say, is your book low on bars?
17.
So this isn't the way the spell is supposed to work, and you innately know that, but you come to the conclusion that magic is being barred from her, both in and out. And that is why only scent and subtle things that the hags haven't thought about have worked when it comes to Baba Yaga. Either that, or you feel that maybe your magic's not strong enough to break through the wicker barrier that's holding her.
And that wicker must be tougher than I thought. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. They've got her sealed up pretty good to the point where she can't escape, so this might be barring my magic too. That's too bad. But yeah, that sending thing is part of my level up from the end of last episode, so we're all level 5 now. Yay!
Yay! What else did you get, Flowerkraut?
The other thing that Flowerkraut got is Counterspell.
Oh, that's gonna be fun for us.
Hold on to that in your back pocket.
That one hurts as a DM. Yeah.
Aaron's viciously writing a counterspell. Your counterspell.
Yeah. Aaron, stop messaging me privately.
Counterspell.
It's like,
Counterspell. Also, your Elderly Blast got upgraded.
that's right.
Has it finally happened?
The fabled split beam.
The double beam. Yes, I get 2 beams of blast.
Yeah, didn't proficiencies go up? So you guys are at a +3 now?
Oh yeah, that happened.
So, yeah, you guys are better at what you do, and you can do it more often, because you can shoot 2 farts at one time.
Yes.
Flowerkraut, you can't fart in the book, I don't think.
I didn't mean to let that one out. I'm sorry.
But if you can, that's a really, really, really good distraction tactic for later. We'll hold on to that.
Since we're on the topic, Timothy, what kind of shiny stuff did the bird get for 5th level?
Timothy is getting back in touch with his original roots before he was a bard, and he has taken a level in rogue.
Ooh.
So not too many things like spell wise, just mostly the things that Timothy was good at before his bard escapades, he's gotten better at.
Awesome. So you've got sneak attack now. You've got expertise, right?
Sure do.
Ooh.
I know that there's you already had expertise. Like you're doubling up on the double up, because
Sure am.
bard and rogue, man, super expert.
Look out for my +8 performances.
Oh goodness. Yeah, that's a good mix, and that totally makes sense for Timothy Biscuit. And as it just so happens, you know a different language now, maybe one that requires the hands.
Yes, in fact, I've been watching my Creckle brethren use Thieves' Cant for the past day or so, and I am ready to jump back in there and see if I'm hopefully not as rusty, because it's been quite a while since I've had to use it.
All right, Sherman, you're up. What did the level 5 pal give you?
Oh, well, as Sherman said, what if one hit not good, maybe hit 2? And now he can. So I have extra attack. So anytime Sherman takes the attack action, he can do 2 attacks.
Oh.
So that opens up combat quite a bit as far as potential damage dealing. The other thing for level 5 is a bit of a boost in spell slots, and I can now do some 2nd level spells.
Nice.
I also forgot one of Flowerkraut's things that she took. She got Aspect of the Moon, which means I no longer need to sleep and can't be forced to sleep by any means. And I gain the benefits of a long rest while doing light activity.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, Flowerkraut never sleep again. Ah.
If I could have something from D&D in real life, I think I found it.
I just jazzercise and I feel so much better.
Yeah.
My insomnia now makes me more powerful.
Yeah. More potions, you guys. Look what I made. It's like making terrible pancakes.
Good morning, everyone. I made smoothies.
Man, you guys sure can sleep. I made Grubgantu on slushies and grub gut pancakes.
Oh, God, I wish she didn't.
With ooze syrup on top. All right, guys, let's get back into it. So I'll leave it to you what you do next.
All right, to the Oracle?
Yeah, but listen, it's been a while since I've had to use this, but in order to kind of keep the conversation to a minimum, may I try to speak with her using Thieves' Cant?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I don't know if we want to just walk in there and be like, "Hey, we need a harvest in Oregon, so let's maybe try and keep it on the down low until we find out what the reaction's gonna be."
Yeah, anything you think will soften that blow?
Well,
that would
listen,
be
I don't
great.
think there's much to soften that blow. It's still rattling around in my little noodle brain, so we'll just see what happens.
You know, we just laugh when we're nervous, that's all.
Is that it? Wait, Sherman. Sherman. Well, I mean, if she can give us a suggestion of something we can do in return to still honor that Kenku's death, and then use the Kenku's heart to save their friends, maybe if we frame it like that, she will help us navigate this very awkward situation.
And I thought fighting a giant worm was gonna be hard. All right, here goes nothing.
A non-intimidating approach towards this oracle.
Okay.
We're sweating. We're all just sweating.
You guys turn and kind of slowly inch back towards the Creckle, and they all perk their heads up and look at you from their conversation, and they just look at you, questioningly, waiting for what you want to say.
We don't want to address all of them.
No.
Flowerkraut just waves.
We're all
Hi.
squinting our eyes really tightly with teeth smiling, exposed, unmoving, and just waving subtly as we slowly approach the elder.
I since I've met the oracle before, I go, hello again. Might we have a word, please?
Yes. And then kind of steps away, puts a hand out, a feathered hand out to the rest of the Creckle, and steps over to where you guys are and turns to you. How may I serve you?
Okay, how do I put this? I start trying to signal with my hands, like simple words, because it has been a while since I've had to use Thieves' Cant, not since I was, years ago when I was with my original flock. So I'm trying to think of the best way to formulate, and I try to say, avert danger, need, make. And I'm trying to think if there's a word for potion, so I try to a couple of things. I'm just like brew or create or craft.
She looks down at your hands and her eyes perk up, and she Thieves' Cant back to you. You speak our language, which kind of comes across as a very simple hand gesture.
I make kind of like a gesture of time passing, almost like a rising moon. Like one hand stays flat and the other one looks like it's rising up and over to indicate time's passing. A long time ago is essentially my reply to her.
Oh!
She nods, kind of gets the message, and kind of puts a feathery hand on your shoulder, and Thieves' Cant's back. Welcome home.
Okay, I'm not gonna cry. I am.
And then she taps your throat, and she says, "Echo." She points to her ears, and then she gestures to herself, and then Thieves' Cant. I speak hands. You speak echo.
Okay. have discovered a way to break this spell that has gripped the others on this island. But the final ingredient we need is difficult, to say the least, and we don't know how to ask.
She says, ask, question, and then she gestures back to the flock and says, Creckle, have, question.
I turn to Flowerkraut and just wait for her approval to speak this final thought.
Yeah, if you need me to say it, I can say it. But if you think you can do it, you have my permission.
Okay. It's like a... The best way I could describe it is if you've seen Deku from My Hero Academia just not holding his stuff together. Just like he's trying to smile, but it's breaking. It's breaking in every way it can. And he turns back to the Oracle and he says, we've discovered the final ingredient is the heart of a Kenku.
She steps back, places a feathery hand over her own heart, and turns away and kind of like stares off at the cave wall in thought for a moment, and then turns back to look at the rest of the Creckle, and then you, Timothy. And then she steps back closer to you and, like kind of moves herself into a position to be in between you and the rest of the Creckle so that nothing can be heard. And then she cants, whose? Any? Question? Or mine?
Oh, no, not yours, Oracle, but any Kenku. We believe that's why none of us were affected. There's something about who we are that repels this horrible spell.
She looks past you at Flowerkraut. Flowerkraut, she says. And then she cants, confidence? Question mark.
She's asking how sure we are.
I'm certain this will work. I found out myself from the sister of the hag that is currently controlling them.
She nods. She turns, she looks back at the flock. She looks beyond the flock and she sees the guard laying on the funeral pyre. Turns back and says, fire, freeze, Kenku. And then she kind of like gestures her hand up into the air.
So we can finally fly.
She nods and smiles at you. She then makes a sound of snapping twigs. And similar to the way that Tumbleweed introduced himself, you take this as the name of the guard. Can't fly without heart.
She says, and I understand that in order for us Kenku to finally be one with the sky, we must relinquish our bodies to the fire. But our hearts have to be part of that.
I understand. Is there anything you can think of that we can do? Because if not, your friends and brethren, the Helax, will be lost. And this home will not be a home anymore, and they'll all become our enemies. And I know it's hard, but I don't think you want that.
And I don't think it's gonna stop with just this island. The last time they had their power go unchecked, they completely destroyed an entire island.
She looks to the ground, and then she looks up to you, Timothy, and says, another way, Kenku fly. And then she kind of looks over at where Tumbleweed's talking to people and looks back at you and says it in the same echo that Tumbleweed's been saying over and over again. Hero. And then cants, fly. And then she gestures to the whole flock and says, Creckle, vote.
She says that they are going to try to put this to a vote, I believe.
Okay.
She then cants more things, knowledge, and then points to all of you. And she starts to try to think of how to say the word in Thieves' Cant, but it's starting to puzzle her. So she gets a stick on the ground and she starts to write. She writes a name, Macadam. And then she looks to you, Timothy, and says, legend of, and she points down to the word in the ground, inscriptions, caves, old age, Glavio, Kenku, discover, people of old age, inscriptions, legend of, points at Macadam. And then she starts to draw a picture around Macadam, and you see that she is drawing out the outline and silhouette of a dragon. Glavio, old age, lush, water, points to Macadam, comes, Glavio, steals water, mountain, sleeps.
She's trying to unearth a dragon?
That's what Aster is after.
She's trying to unearth a sleeping, dormant dragon.
That's what she wants to control.
This dragon, if I'm understanding this correctly, this dragon is the reason this island is in the state that it's in.
Yes.
She is already working towards controlling this dragon. She's got to be right on the verge, if not already there.
That's not good. I mean, I could only imagine how destructive that creature would be on its own, but under the influence of someone so evil, there's nothing that would stop them.
She could lay waste to Archipelia with that thing, couldn't she?
Creckle, free choice. Timothy Biscuit. She points to your throat. Echo. Cants. Creckle. Vote. And then she steps to the side and gestures for you to talk to the people.
Oh no. Sherman, you have any advice on more public speaking?
How about Timothy, you did so good, but I don't want to put you in that spot again if you're not okay with it this time. If there's a dragon and it falls under Aster's control, then they can say goodbye to Glavio, and everywhere in Archipelia won't be safe.
They're trying to command the sea and the sky. There's nowhere that will be safe. You're right.
Do we have any inkling that this concoction, this salve, can it work on anything?
Oh, I think I know what you're getting at. If we could get it on the dragon. I like what you're thinking, Sherman. That might buy us some time and help us out.
It's a talking point at the very least.
All right, Sherman. If I look like I'm not getting the point across, I'm gonna have to rely on you, buddy.
Okay. I'm with you. I'm here. We're doing this together.
We're with you, Timothy.
I pluck one of my own feathers and I write a glyph kind of in the sky, and it alights as a eagle, and I cast enhance ability on myself as Eagle's Splendor, which will give me advantage on charisma checks.
All right.
And that is also my last second level spell.
So you cast the spell, and it definitely draws all of their attention to you as you step forward past the oracle, and you are now standing before the flock.
Creckle, I stand before you yet again with difficult news, with difficult truths, and with sorrow. But in this sorrow, I'm trying to find hope. We know this hag. We know who she is, and we know what she's trying to do. You've heard her voice. You heard her try to intimidate us. You heard her try to tell us to run. But you also know that there are no safe places to run to. We have to stay here and we have to fight. Not just for us, not just for the Helax, but the entire world of Archipeldia is at stake. This hag, this source of misery and pain and evil, wishes to unearth something from this island that will lay waste to everything we care about. Your oracle has clued me in on Macadam. She has told me of this legend. Well, it is not legend, my friends, for this hag wishes to unearth this creature from its long slumber, and she wishes to control its mind. And we know from the creature that just attacked us, she has that capability. That is where things are dire. That is the news that is difficult to share. But the hope might be even more difficult, because we have also discovered a cure, a way to break this curse, this spell, this power that she claims to have over everyone except us. Us Creckle. There is something about us that she cannot control. There are times I understand where we feel small, and we feel like we can't be a part of the bigger picture, the bigger world, where we feel that our feet are planted on the ground, and that there is very few ways that we can soar. So what I ask of you is difficult, and I wish there was another way, and I wish I didn't have to ask of this. But the thing that separates us, the thing that makes us different, makes us immune, is the very thing we need to break this spell. And that is our hearts. We need a heart of a Kenku, of a Creckle, in order to break this spell. And I know that's a hard thing to ask for. And I know that in order for us to fly, we must be whole. And I wish there was another way, but I ask for you to look at the difficult picture, at the whole world. And I know sometimes it doesn't feel deserving of our compassions, but I ask you please to put this to a vote so that we may have a chance for that hope. As difficult as it is, I ask that you at least consider it.
The Creckle stand in solidarity, staring at you in disbelief. Some of them look hopeful. Some of them look absolutely destroyed over the news. The Oracle lays her hand on your shoulder, smiles and acknowledges you, Timothy, and then walks into the flock as they part for her, and she steps forward towards the pyre. She then turns, and the flock all kind of create a semicircle around it. And she begins to cant and squawk and say things in what echo she has and relay the message that they have to make a choice. If Snapping Twig is to be denied his flight, or if Flavio, and perhaps Archipelagia beyond, is to have a fighting chance. And Tumbleweed steps forward, and he puts his hand on the pyre and looks up at the guard laying there, and he kind of walks over to where the guard, the shoulder of him, and he reaches up and he puts his hand on the guard's chest. Hero. 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 He turns around and looks, and he's got this stern look on his eyes. He's staring at all the other Creckle. Some of them avert their eyes, from him, and the Oracle says in Timothy's voice, "A heart of a Kenku." And she raises her hand, and Tumbleweed raises his hand. And you see some of them looking around, some of them crying because of how much it means to them, how much they know in their beliefs they are taking from one of their own. But you see hands slowly start to go up until all of them raise their hand. And the Oracle looks past the flock at you three, and she smiles. "What can we do for you?"
Sorry, I'm a little emotional now too. Oh my goodness.
Timothy, good job.
Sherman puts a hand on Timothy's shoulder, and he doesn't say it, but the there is there.
You see some of the Creckle wiping their eyes as they go back and they pick up their gear, and you see some of the Creckle scouts start to put on their armor. And they start to get their bows and their ropes. They tie them to their belts. And then they make their way out. I mean, they make a path open for you three to approach the pyre.
Flowerkraut, what's the most humane way of getting what you need?
I can take care of getting the heart and then making sure he still looks good, so that they can still burn him. But maybe I don't know if it's in their culture to watch during such a thing, so I'm thinking I can take him away to a tent or somewhere obscured. I turn to the Oracle. Is there a good place I can take him and take care of him?
She looks at you, then looks over at Timothy and kind of beckons Timothy over, and she cants, "This resting his."
She says that it should be done here, as difficult as that is.
Okay. I'll do that. I don't know if they'd like to see one of their own doing that to them.
So as you had noticed, a lot of the Creckle grabbing their gear, they all begin to file out of Raven's Outpost. All but the Oracle. And even one of the scouts kind of takes Tumbleweed by the hand and kind of brings him with them outside.
Flowerkraut approaches the pyre and gently undoes snapping twigs, binds, and lays him down at the base. And she pulls out her trusty dagger, Whalethorn, which she hasn't used at all during this adventure, so it's nice and clean. And she carefully cuts into his chest and pulls out the heart.
The Oracle watches, and it seems as though she's forcing herself to watch as tears are streaming down her eyes.
As a more symbolic gesture than anything, for the first time, Sherman seals the extraction wound with lay on hands, actual hand healing out of respect.
Oh, thank you, Sherman. Flowerkraut turns and smiles at Sherman, and you can see she's a little teary-eyed too.
The Oracle steps forward as, Snapping Twig is placed back in his place and turns to you, Timothy, and says, "Incants, fire, not yet." Snapping Twig, she makes the sound. Hero, first.
He already was one, but we'll make sure that this will never be forgotten.
She just kind of blinks at you and smiles, struggling a smile through tears streaming down her eyes. And she walks out of the room, out of the cavern, to join the rest of the Creckle.
Before I follow her, I look over to Snapping Twig and I put my hand on his shoulder and say thank you, and that I am so sorry, but you are a hero. And then I follow her out.
Right, Flowerkraut is going to get to work on making the potion.
You take the ground sandbuck horn and the desert rat tail and the heart of the Kenku, and you go about creating salve. And you are able to put it in a kind of a container, not really like a flask or anything. You're able to put it into kind of a bowl with a cap on it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll a medicine check.
Please don't suck. That was a 6.
So this roll is basically to give you an idea as to your assumption as to how many people you could probably use with it. And it's hard to tell. You can probably get at least maybe 5 to 10, maybe more. You're not really sure, because every time you grab some to smear across a forehead, you're not really sure how much you're taking out of this. So you at least know that this is going to work on a number of people.
Flowerkraut, alone with her thoughts, is just thinking how she would have never been able to pull this off without the help of her companions. And she is deeply regretting trying to do this on her own. And she's feeling some serious appreciation for Timothy and Sherman.
So it's just you and Sherman and Brandy in the cavern. You finish the salve.
I nod to Sherman. It's good to go.
Okay, should we preemptively cover the two of us?
Oh.
Just in case we become targets again.
Yeah. Can I do an insight check to see, if I think it would be worthwhile for us to do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I rolled a 3, so I got an 8.
You think it might work, at least that the salve would be present on you if it were ever to happen.
Oh, yeah.
Then you start to question your logic, and you wonder what if the salve dries on my forehead? Is it still effective? Does it work while it's dry? Is it an instant thing? You start questioning all of these things, so you kind of just come to the conclusion that you're not sure.
You know what? We'll leave it in the care of Brandy, and if we need it, she can whack us with some, but we might need it to save the others. I don't know how much we're going to need for everybody else. Let's make sure we use it sparingly.
Flowerkraut, you and Sherman leave Raven's Outpost, and Sherman's able to basically direct the trap, to point out the traps as you're walking back through the cavern system to catch up with everyone else.
Well, don't step there. That's where, hold on. Sherman just dives on top of her.
Do we pass the pit of snakes yet?
The pit of ropes?
Timothy, you were able to just basically follow the oracle, and who easily walks around everything almost as like second nature.
Timothy is being very quiet during this. I think for the first time you see him just kind of like sharpening his feather daggers and just being not a recluse, but certainly just trailing behind the oracle and not bringing up really anything.
You exit out into the rocky cliffside of Glavio, where the rest of the Creckle are kind of gathered down at the bottom of the rocks. They look up as the oracle steps down, and everyone is being very quiet. But you see that the oracle thieves cant to a couple of them, and then a couple minutes later, Sherman and Flowerkraut come walking out as well, and the oracle turns to you, Timothy, and says, 8 scouts with you. Go save. And then she says in a Helix voice, Glavio.
Timothy nods. Thank you.
You see that 8 of the Creckle scouts have all geared themselves up, and they're standing off to the side, ready to accompany you to do whatever it's going to take. The rest of the Creckle, the young, those that just simply lived in Oskal's refuge, maybe the craftsmen, not the hunters, they all stay with the oracle. They kind of they bow their heads to all of you, and you see they just continue to bow their heads up and down. They're just giving you this well wishes gesture, and you guys can set off.
And Flowerkraut would know the way, right? Since she was kind of led all the way up to the...
If there's anything you know about this mind control power, is that you are fully aware of what's happening to you while under the control of Aster's spell. So you just weren't getting control of yourself. You watched yourself walk up, the mountain. So yeah, you know exactly where her cave is, as well. And even if it was a little bit dark early in the morning when you did it, you all start to head that direction and are easily able to see all of the tracks of the Helix and the Apostle ship heading the same way.
Before we leave, I try to find Tumbleweed in the crowd.
He sees you. He's kind of sad, but at the same time, you can see this resolve in his eyes.
Hey, bud. We're going to make this right. And I need you to watch over the Creckle for me, okay?
He nods, and he looks like he's trying to echo something to you, but like tears are coming out of his eyes, and he...
It's okay, bud. I understand. Sometimes we don't have the words, and that's okay. We'll be back. I promise. And, I take my scarf off, and I wrap it around him.
Oh.
He clings to it.
Stay safe, Tumbleweed.
I'll be back for that. Until then, hold it tight.
He squeezes it.
I look back at Flowerkraut, probably with the most serious and stern face she's ever seen on Timothy, and he says, "Let's go get her."
Fuck yeah. Flowerkraut will lead the pack.
Okay, so you guys head through the pillars of salt. And like I said, it's easy to catch the tracks of everyone who has gone to the mountain. And you pass up familiar places. The little area where they were keeping the Helix and the salt pillars had collapsed. The cave off in the distance that you found the sandbuck and learned how to make the salve. And you begin to climb the foothills and keep following the tracks. And it takes some time. But you look around you, and the Creckle scouts who haven't said a word this entire time all have a very focused look about them. And you guys finally start to get close to where you remember Aster's cave being.
All right. When I was under Aster's spell, I was pretty much conscious of everything that she was having me do. So these guys won't need an explanation. You just can help me make sure that they return to themselves, and I'm sure they'll help us right away. The goal is to help out as many of them as possible. Obviously, we have a limited amount of stuff here, and maybe we want to save a little bit for a potential dragon encounter. Sherman, I know you and Brandy can help me out. Timothy, you don't have to if you don't want to, but I have the salve here, and Brandy can carry it around to all of us if we need to up the dosage.
I will do whatever is necessary to stop her.
Thanks, Timothy. Let's approach cautiously and quietly.
So you guys all kind of slow your pace as you get close to where you remember the cave being. And sound is echoing throughout the canyon, like down the mountain, bouncing off of the rock. You hear faintly in the distance sounds of pickaxes striking stone, reverberating out of a single source, but it is far in the distance. And you start to think, as you get closer, that it's coming from within Aster's cave. However, as you reach the ridge and peek your heads over, there standing in front of Aster's cave are 7 apostleship disciples, standing motionless, sentries given the command to stop anyone who might try to enter. And that is where we will end our episode.
Winds with you, BB Army, broken winds notwithstanding. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Break, Battle, and Roll. We hope you're enjoying our adventure as much as we are in creating it. If you're looking for more ways to connect with Break, Battle, and Roll, follow our Instagram and Twitter, both at Break, Battle, Roll, or stop by and give us a like on the Break, Battle, and Roll Facebook page. Or if following the individual nerds is more your thing, you can follow Chad Stafford on his Instagram and Twitter at It's Chit Chad, as well as his YouTube channels, Chit Chad and Chit Chad Plays. You can follow me, Janelle Wilkie, on my Instagram at janelle.wilkie, or you can join Dustin Bleschmidt as he streams on twitch.tv/thefinaldestination. And follow his Instagram and TikTok, both at _final_destination. And his Twitter at FINL_destination. You can also find our beloved barkeep and dungeon daddy, Aaron Rollins, on Twitter at Arkuma, that's AARKUMA. We must also sing the praises of our amazing musicians, Ben Holland and Rory O'Neill, who provided our theme song and many of the original musical scores in the podcast. Ben can be found on SoundCloud, and you can follow Rory on Twitter at Trench Warfare. Now that you're part of the BB Army, we'd love your help in spreading the word throughout the realm. Sharing our podcast with friends and writing reviews helps a young podcast like ours so much. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to go pester the barkeep for another drink. Until next time.